Do 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 do. I don't know if I like the tan top. Is it cream on the inside though? Oh! All right, you got me looking. Cup, please. Oh, okay. What's up? Raider Nation, I'm saying, and any other trolls that might be in here. What's up? Hey man, I acknowledge trolls. I don't care. Come on and say I look stupid and my voice sucks and my show is lame and all this other stuff. I don't care. I mean, I've been doing this 10 years, man. I've been raising kids already. So when these kids come on and want to yee. Saw me yesterday. I didn't even react to them. I didn't even bring them up yesterday. I'm going to bring it up now just to let you go see some of them. I didn't block them. I don't care. What's up, Mark Marcus? I see you. It's that time again for the best damn opening in Facebook and YouTube live history. No. Don't do that to me. Don't do that to me. I was right in the middle of the spiel. The Raider Bear! All right, now I'm done. Now we can talk about football. I will say hello to everyone as I always do, but first, Truddish! Good grief. Just shut up. Okay. Oh, okay. Without further ado, my medal round. Tonight's winner, numero uno, the gold medalist, number one, Mark Vargas. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear, your world heavyweight champion, and my 5-emoji making son of a gun. Second place, my silver medal goes to... little drama? No, not really. Say, right in the middle of the next bark, I just went into it. Big dog! What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. I can't believe I actually have some stuff to talk to you guys about tonight. The other night, to me, that stuff we were talking about the other night was just kind of stuff, you know what I mean? But I'm glad to see that today we have some stuff to discuss. Some real stuff. Oh, and you can put it in my Raider cup. You're the best. Brian Shaw, look. The hair looks so good. So red. Oh, I get one on the lips for the show. Nice. You know, we got to keep it G-rated, honey. Next time, the cheek. Okay, come on.
Oh, please. We're in the cheek in the 20th century here, okay?
I'm saying. All right. And of course... third place, my bronze medal goes to John the Lion. Leon, always dropping L's, but never taking losses. My guy, John the Lion Leon. All right, so thank you, my YouTubers, and reminding you now, if you're a YouTuber and you're watching the show, some of you aren't subscribed. You know you love me. You just forget to hit the button, so just do it now. Right there or right there. I always forget which. It's right here somewhere. Like and follow. Facebook. I'm not even going to say the other stuff. I'm not even going to say it for this one, okay? This man's dominant, okay? The rest of you suckers on Facebook need to step up because he's just, you know, it's getting boring. He's Usain Bolt. Carlos! Boy, kids, let's go. Carlos Boykins showing his dominance yet again. And we're starting to see some dominance and in the second silver medal place, second place silver medal. We're starting to see some dominance there. You know why? Because it's the G-Man, Jim Garrison, yet again. And Jim, don't think I didn't notice, when I challenged you to step up and start being the man. And look at you, just running right after Carlos Boykin's cape. He's like a superhero, so it's his cape, coattails, whatever. But keep running him down, brother. Keep running him down. You'll probably never catch him. And that's no fault of yours. He's kind of the Michael Jordan of my Facebook round right now. Third place, my bronze medal goes to King Artie G. King Artie G, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. I don't remember you in my medal round like ever. So what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. And by the way, since this is your first bronze medal, let me remind you, if you take the bronze medal out on the beach, you're going to get a lot of girls chasing after you because they think it's solid gold. If you're married, make sure you take the missus with you. But if you're single, you won't be much longer if you take that with you. I'm playing. Sorry. Corinna Trujillo, what's up? Welcome to the show. I knew Stephen Shaw was watching. Stephen Shaw. Good stuff. Hey, look, I've been called an old man, for a long, long time before I became an actual old man. Because I drink coffee every day. It doesn't matter if it's day, noon, or night. It doesn't matter. I love coffee. I used to take coffee with me to when I was getting my tattoos. For real. All this work, my tattoo artist always laughed. Bill Cox, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. He gets the first comment. Bear! What's up? Oh, John, I appreciate the feedback. Love that. Appreciate that. And as you can see, I'm still kind of dressing the wall up. I just got this beautiful on the air sign. I've had one of these Las Vegas, Dia de los Muertos. I still probably said it wrong. To my Hispanic people watching, I apologize. And of course, the Oakland Raiders. You never forget the motherland. So for those of you who live in Las Vegas, if that offends you, shut up. But I don't mean any disrespect. I'm an Oakland boy, born and raised. And so it hurt me. You know what I mean? I don't hate on Vegas though. I like the stadium. I'm worried about it because we owe $1.47 billion on it still. And I don't know if Mark Davis has that kind of bread, man. He went from the lowest rated as far as finance. He was the poorest of the NFL owners. Now, that's not the case anymore. I'm not sure who he beat because I haven't looked at the list lately because I don't care. But I do know he was dead last on it for quite a while. He was the poorest NFL owner. But once he moved to Vegas, our $1.25 billion Raiders went up to $5.1 billion, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's up to I think it's just creeped over 5 billion now. But we got to get the people in Vegas to sleep in those hotels. And since everything's down, tourists to sleep in the hotels in Vegas, because we just sort of got on this topic. I'm just going to finish it real quick. But we owe a lot of money. Mark Davis does for the Vegas build, and his payments are coming up and they're real big. And the attendance at hotels in Vegas is way down. And that was where they were planning on between Vegas and the Raiders getting a lot of that revenue. That way the taxpayers aren't paying for it. The taxpayers who stay in the hotels are paying for it as a tax. That was then supposed to go to the Raiders. I apologize if I'm boring some of you who already know this. That was mostly for the people who do not know that. Pelon Mendez, what's up? Welcome to the show. It has been a while. Appreciate good to see you. Jim Moon, also someone I haven't seen in a while. Jim Moon, all is well. I love that profile picture. You look great, brother. Is that your dad or like your granddad? You guys look great. Handsome Joe Holman in the house. What's up? Welcome to the show. Yes, Mark Vargas. I don't have their names in front of me. I still have my list up. Okay, bow. Let me get rid of that. Bow. And then bow. Okay, here we go. Right. Looking at that. Jackson's press release. I saw that Where is that? I saw that we signed a new long snapper, Alex Ward. I was impressed with that. He's with the Ram. He was with the Rams, so we're getting a guy with experience, not some rookie. I thought that was good. Go back here. Oh, whoops. That's not what I need. I'm all over the place. My computer's arguing with me. Nope. No, thank you. I don't need a pair of leather boots. I hate pop-ups, man. They suck. Okay, well, post who they said the two coaches are, because I'm having trouble pulling up their name. But I know that we were in an interview with Rob Leonard. Is it Rob Leonard? I know was one of the defensive coordinators we were looking at. And then the offensive guy was the former guy with Seattle. So they would obviously, him coming from Seattle, Clint Kubiak, our new head coach. If you bring in the offensive play caller from Seattle, which would make a ton of sense, because although Seattle obviously just won a Super Bowl, what's changed about winning a Super Bowl is that they don't often follow the rule where you bring the whole team back. In other words, the owner may want to cut pay on a lot of things, even though they won the Super Bowl, just because it costs, a lot to own a team. And then if they cut those costs, that's money they're putting in their pockets. So you may see some of that. If that's the case, or if the coaching staff, players and so on already know that's the case, that might be why Clint Kubiak, decided adios, knowing he wouldn't get the head job, and then also come to us and then bring staff from over there that respects him. That's a huge get. Mama Bear, Stephen Shaw said hello, and Mark Vargas said hello. Tony Make It Dip. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. John Rogers Jr., how you doing, man? Welcome. Carlos Boykins asked if that's his red-headed lady of rage. And yes, it is. Bill Cox loves the new setup. I appreciate that, brother. Welcome. Oh, look at that. Corinna Trujillo and Steven Shaw, my two benefactors of the show. And that's to remind all of you, if you enjoy the show and you really think I'm doing a good job, please contribute stars. Whatever amount is up to you. I have no problem with that. Ellis Irving, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. I'm doing great. Doing real good. Anthony Contreras. Hello, Raider Bear. Hope and the family are doing well. Just wanted to say I'm excited with the new coach, head coach, and other coaches that they're bringing in. What do you think? Well, I like it because to be honest with you, it shows professionalism, which was something we were kind of lacking with Pete Carroll. And I mean, if you look at that, they were basically grooming everything around Pete Carroll. That's not normal, where the owner says you can have this and you can have this and you can have this. I'm picking everything for you, head coach. Now go in the kitchen and cook. And then if it comes out like top ramen, you want to get mad at him. It's your fault. You told him who he had to work with. Now, in this instance, I think we learned from that. And I think that may be part of why Max Crosby was so mad and made his initial statement of trade me. I don't want to play here anymore. Now, obviously, we've seen that he went out, had a lunch/coffee date with the head coach. I have since found out that it wasn't just the head coach there. There were other people there with him, probably other people that were going to be a part of his staff. And he was just making that clear to him. But anyway, it looks like the professionalism that's been added to how the process works. In other words, we didn't tell Kubiak who his people are going to be. Kubiak is getting to tell ownership who his people are going to be. Now, there is one issue, though, still in the way, and that's Spytek. Now, if you think about it, when I tell you this, there are those hardcore football fans that would say back to me, okay, Bear, he's picking the defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator, but that's at field level. When it's time to analyze and scout the kids around the country and work the draft, he's going to have to work with Spytek, and Spytek's not his choice. Now, I would say to you, the first hurdle has already been crossed. In other words, unlike Pete Carroll, Clint Kubiak came into this realizing that Spytek wasn't going anywhere. I think Pete Carroll came into the situation. Well, I say think, but I know. I know Pete Carroll came into the situation thinking that once he got there, they were going to move on from Spytek because that would be what he would want. and he would bring in his own GM, possibly even one of the retired GMs that he would bring out of retirement from somewhere he worked in the past that would be able to really relate with him. Because obviously, even if you retire, that doesn't mean you can't still scope out talent. You see what I'm saying? So I think they were going to do a bring the band back together, Blues Brothers kind of thing. If you don't understand that reference, go look it up. It's very funny. and so there it is. But I think Kubiak came into this with the attitude of, I don't mind working with Spytek. I'm a young coach myself. I want this job. I'll work with him. Not to mention, he could outlast, if he wins, he could outlast Spytek, where he may go to them eventually and say, hey, you know what? I'm winning, even though he's giving me 3 bums and 1 guy every year. Can we move on from this guy? And then he'll have leverage if he starts winning. Mike McCoy. Okay. Well, Mike McCoy is a veteran guy. He's been around the league a little bit, if it's the Mike McCoy I'm thinking of. You're welcome, Corinna. Much love to you. Sorry, I'm just reading your comments real quick. We hired Mike McCoy. Thanks, brother. It's my dad that passed a couple years ago. Oh, wow. Jim, we're in the same boat. I lost my dad. It's going to be 3 years now this year. It was 3 years now this year. I can tell you, though, Jim, I made a little memorial to my dad, but I put it in the backyard. My wife reached out to this company that makes like a plaque for you. It doesn't look like a tombstone or anything, but it's very, very cool and it has his face on it. And just, we had something written on it that honors him. And that helps me whenever I get up in the morning. I can just look out in my backyard and, throw one up for dad. Charles Washington, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Now, with the addition of the coaching staff, the offensive coordinator, okay, if we bring him in, we have McCoy. You say Mike McCoy, but no one's saying what was he brought in as the defensive guy, right? Because if he was brought in as the offensive guy, then the interview we had with the wide receivers coach in Seattle probably is irrelevant. Yeah, if you can't tell, I'm a little bit behind today. I didn't have my time to research before I was going into the show. The redheaded Baroness. She is doing excellent, Jesse Parker. I appreciate the love. How's it going, brother? Good to see you. You got to post a new picture of your son. I know he's getting huge. Oh, assistant head coach. Okay, Tana. Well, see, but that's pretty good. I honestly, whenever you're a young coach like this, remember they did the same thing with AP. They brought in 2 senior guys to just help him understand the timing of the game, how you do things, who you move in and out, little things that you don't know as a head coach that AP was learning. Clint Kubiak comes in as a guy who understands offense, understands working with his players, but now can he know those ins and outs of what a head coach does? Even if he was working for a head coach, usually the answer is no, because you don't have time to observe what the head coach is doing well and try to do your own job. It just doesn't work. Doesn't work out well. Now the other. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, it's all over about the coaching staff and so on. Just blog baby says the Raiders should send Pete Carroll a fruit basket for altering the Las Vegas course. That's cold. Appreciate that, Mark Vargas. Okay, so moving forward. So I like what's going on. I think that what we're going to see, and you'll hear about this in the next couple days. I guarantee by next week, you'll hear them talking about what I'm talking about. And it's because I've heard a couple things. And so I'm going to tell you what they are. I apologize that I don't give you sources all the time. I can't, because if I give you sources that I have, then I lose those sources. And so I can't do that. Okay. So, but you'll notice when I give you things and I say I got it from a source, a few days goes by, sometimes a week, and then you hear that same story. And so bear with me. Bear with me. Hooray to bear. No, not that. Okay, so here is what the news is right now. We are going to go forward with Fernando Mendoza, but they are going to be aggressive about potentially getting back into the first round. The war room for the Raiders, so to speak, someone that will be in that war room is pushing very hard. Can't say names, but someone that will be in the war room is going to be pushing very hard for us to use some of these picks. We're going to pile up. Obviously, we're going to get some compensatory picks. They'll probably take a pick, and then a compensatory pick and trade up either back into the first round or very early second round if someone is willing to take our package to get back, to drop down and let us have their higher position. I can tell you that the Raiders are going to do that. So watch for this draft as we lead up to it. Watch how they start talking about potentially the Raiders may need to be aggressive in this rebuild / overhaul because they really want to strip it down to the bolts. Anybody that doesn't have already like a 4-year deal is suspect. And now we know the Max Crosby thing seems to be dying down because Max has since the statement where he said he wouldn't play for us, his most latest statement, he said, and I quote, "I just want to get back to playing football." That's his nice way of saying, I'm not pissed anymore. We had our coffee break. We talked. I like what I see. Clint Kubiak is not a puppet coach. He's not brought in to take orders from up high. He's here to actually coach the team through the future. This is not going to be a Kubiak run where we fire him in 2 seasons. He'll probably get at least 3 unless the losing is really bad. I mean, if we only win like 2 games again, but they would still look at him. They wouldn't do what they're doing to Pete Carroll. In other words, even if he has a 2-win season to start, they'll be like, hey, no, he's putting in his people. We stripped it down to the bolts. You give him another try. Then he would get the next season and they would probably win a few more games. But let's say it was only 6 or 8. Well, then now you tell him, okay, season 3, your feet are on the fire. Okay, the hot seat, like ESPN likes to say. And that would be true. But see, he would make it to year 3, in my opinion, no matter what he does. He would have to do something catastrophic, like have emails come out that he sent to someone a year prior that, say some bad things, like what happened to John Gruden. So, and by the way, the conversation the other day about Deuce Gruden, his son, still being the strength and conditioning coach, I think that could happen. I think he could keep his job. I haven't followed up on that yet, so I apologize if I look stupid, like maybe they made a move already. I don't think they have, but I honestly think no news about that is good news. You know what I mean? Because they do report when, minor staff guys get let go, and I haven't seen anything about that yet. So I could imagine where they keep him, if for no other reason than we know the locker room supports him. The players like him. They think he does a good job keeping them from getting injured and knowing how to go through their routines in the weight room and so on and get results. David Pellcliver, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Chewy Raider coverage said, go Raiders. Anthony Contreras said, well said. I appreciate that, brother. Have little Cub started on her second book yet? Actually, yes. My daughter has started her second book. She was having a little bit, that like writer's block at first because she knew what she wanted to do. Started to get writing the second book, and then she just felt the brakes hit. Like, oh, should I go this way or should I go this way with this character? Should I do some backstory? Blah, blah, blah. But I can report that literally as early as yesterday, she had a brainstorm, started writing again, and a lot got done. So she's probably going to have her second book out relatively soon. I'd say 4 months, 5 months, somewhere around there. If you know anything about writing books, that's actually soon. I know people that take a year or 2 before they write their next book. Okay, so yeah, we haven't hired a defensive coordinator yet. Okay. Oh, you just got a Dave Casper jersey? That's dope. Kevin Kahu Hano, what are you doing in here? The show's not over yet. My guy Kevin is famous for always being late. Hi, honey. Look, my pickle troll is here. Hi, Casey. Look at you with your Majin Buu kitty. I call those Majin Buu kitties because they have that M right between their eyes, like Dragon Ball Z. If you know what I'm talking about, you're cool. If you don't, you're not. You stop. Will Nanoff, the crazy squirrel in the house. I still have that shirt. I'd have to dig it up, brother, but I still have that shirt. Stephen Shaw. Now, for those of you that heard the report going around about Derek Carr potentially coming out of retirement, I want to make a couple of things clear. First, I don't care. Second, and more importantly, he wouldn't be coming back to the Raiders. Guys, you have to remember, he's already been to another team. I'm not saying he's going to go to the Saints. I mean, the Saints have moved on, but he might go somewhere to, mentor a young quarterback that gets picked out of this draft. Maybe he goes somewhere. I don't know if you've seen his podcast he's doing with his brother or if it's his brother's podcast. I don't know. But the podcast his brother did with him, he basically said he's in shape still. And to my eye, he looked exactly the same. Doesn't look like he's gained a pound. So he's probably ready to go. And if there's a team out there that gets desperate, I mean, come on, guys. Can we stop? Stop. I don't like dividing Raider Nation. There's Derek Carr people in Raider Nation, and then there's people that are not Derek Carr people in Raider Nation. It's split right down the middle. And I can tell you honestly, I'm not on either side. I don't care if he does, and I don't care if he doesn't. You know what I mean? Because he's done. I mean, I don't understand why anyone would look at him. He was gun shy when he was with us. What's he going to be now after a couple of years of laying with his feet up, with his wife and his kids? I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would call him. I don't know if I would call him. Louis Padilla in the house. What's up? New Mexico. I'm never late. I'm on Hawaiian time. I can't argue with that. And I know that is a thing. The pickle troll had to make a little appearance. Never put a pickle next to your male laugh emoji. It looks bad. It's not the eggplant, but it's pretty close. I'm happy with the head coaching hire. We don't need a defensive coordinator anymore. I don't know if I agree with that, but I get it. But I don't know if I agree with that. I think McCoy will be a good hire in the sense of he will help Clint Kubiak with that. You know what I mean? Being a coach, but you need a guy by you that's experienced. You know what I mean? That can kind of center you and say, hey, it's 3rd and 9. I know you like this play, but we tend to punt on 3rd and 9. Regardless of field position, it's 3rd and 9. Oh, okay. Mark Vargas makes a good point. My champion, Derek Carr as an assistant quarterbacks coach. Now, that I could get down with because Derek wouldn't be coming in inexperienced, right? It's not just that he was a quarterback, but he's also worked with quarterback coaches for over a decade. And so he would be able to come in and impart tools on one of our quarterbacks the same way one of these, coaching guys does. And the reason I like that is because it would be a feel-good story for Raider Nation. See, if he came back in any way with the staff, I'm all right with that. That I'm all right with. And could you imagine if he comes in as the quarterback's coach, he could end up climbing the charts, maybe become the offensive coordinator. And you see where I'm going. And then all of a sudden, after 5 or 6 years with us, suddenly he's maybe going to be considered as the head coach. I think that would be cool, man. I think that would be cool. That would be a very cool, how do you say this? Full turn kind of story. Also, Bob Standard wants me to, why would you say my husband wants me to talk about the Seahawks, but he really wants to talk about his favorite team he loves behind closed doors? Oh my goodness. Are you guys a split marriage? Is this another one of these marriages where the wife has her team and the husband has her team? Casey, once you marry Bob, you're supposed to adopt what he loves. You know what I mean? Not the other way around. Except for girl stuff. He has to adopt girl stuff that you like. Not football. Football's not girl stuff. I'm not saying girls can't be fans. Stop yelling at me. Is there a girls football league? No, there is not. Except the lingerie league, which I was completely in support of. Strictly for the football. Lucky Pace, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Oh, okay. Will, we need to get a defensive mind in the house to stimulate Max. We don't want another Khalil situation. Well, Will, I don't mind that so much, but I think the first step was what we've done. In other words, once we hired the head coach, and you notice we did it fast. There was no lag. There was no mess around time. We didn't over negotiate with him. We found the guy, the hot guy coming off a Super Bowl, innovative offense, going to change things for us, and snapped him right up. See, now that would have impressed Max, because in the past we do these hunting and, we don't know if we want that guy. Oh, then he just, turns us down and blah, blah, blah. No, none of that. Go get your guy. That was our focus. We said it out loud, and then we got our guy, Clint Kubiak. Now, fast forward, he's already having interviews with offensive coaching and defensive coaching coordinators to appoint someone. We bring in Mike McCoy as the assistant head coach to give him experience and background to teach him how better to do what he's brought here to do. So far, why would that not impress Max? Just that, because Max's agent can say to him, hey, that's not old Raider behavior. This is more new age football behavior. So maybe we need to hear out what they're saying. I think it went down something like that. Louis Padilla says we're going to be okay. I agree with that. Okay. I misunderstood, Will. My bad. But yes, as a coming in as a quarterback's coach, I'd love that. If Derek Carr came in as a quarterback's coach, I'd love that. He knows the game. He really does. The fact that we watched him, let's say, be a little bit too cautious from time to time with our plays and not throwing the deep ball as much as we might have liked, and seeing replays where the guy was wide open and he doesn't pull a trigger. A lot of that goes back to the fact that he didn't want to mess with his completion percentage. And I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying it's good for him, because it looks good on the resume when you go to that other team and the Saints pay you, I complete this many passes year after year after year, 4,000 yards, 4,000 yards, 4,000 yards. And so he knows the game. He just was a cautious quarterback is what I would call him. This is the first. I have a husband and a wife playfully fighting in my comments. The Seahawks defense called the dark side defense. Okay. Okay, yeah, and I saw the interview, Mark Vargas. I appreciate that, but I did see the interview, the reporter that posted that he'd already interviewed Rob Leonard, Leonard, or is it Rob? I think it's Rob, isn't it? Did you put a D instead of a B? Yeah, it's Rob Leonard, R-O-B. But anyway, as many mistakes as I make, Mark Vargas, please don't feel like I'm, I'm not trying to mess with you. But yeah, Rob Leonard, he was Max Crosby's defensive line coach. There is how do I say it? That's the tie-in. So in other words, if we do sign Rob Leonard, that's a huge sign that we're listening to Max Crosby and don't want him to leave, obviously. So we're going to make a move that's going to please him, where a football mind that he's worked with for a while and probably agrees with, because we've never heard him complain about his defensive line coach. You know what I mean? So he'll be on board with that. Vernon Moshman says, Bear, I sure miss the days of being at Raider games with packed Raider fans, even when we were losing. Nowadays, all the home games feel like an away game. That does suck, Vernon. And knowing the sports fan that you are, I know you already know the answer I'm going to give you, but I'm just going to say it out loud for everyone real quick. We're in a town now in Las Vegas that's always neutral. In other words, I can tell you there's polls that have shown that the number one team in Vegas is the Niners. And then for a while it was Dallas. I think it was 2025. It was Dallas. They take different polls, but it's never been us. You know what I mean? And yet it's a destination to like go. It would be like parking a stadium next to Disneyland. You're obviously going to draw a lot of fans because you're next to Disneyland, but those fans are fickle. They're going to be with all sorts of different teams throughout the league. And then a lot of Raider fans that are upset with the cost of tickets, the fact that the team seems to be in limbo, these last couple years, it just the coaching decisions and the play calling, it's just been terrible. And so you've got diehard Raider fans that are saying, I'll sell my tickets to opposing team fans until I see my Raiders, get their act together. Then I'll stop selling my tickets and I will help fill up, home games by going myself and bringing my husband or my kids or whatever the case may be. And we're not there yet. We're not there yet. You know what I mean? I worried about this. And those of you who watch my show religiously, you'll remember it was 4 or 5 years ago when I said, and I quote, we may end up, really regretting this move to Vegas. We're doing it without the NFL's consent. We already know the NFL hates the Davis family, and they did not want Mark Davis to make this move to Vegas. They wanted him to talk to them about it. They wanted to sit down and make a plan. And Mark Davis said, no, you'll just try to talk me out of it and make me stay in Oakland. I'm out of here. And then he got Sheldon Adelson and he went. Now, while he got Sheldon Adelson and they're getting the money ready and everything, the NFL then reached out and told Mark Davis, we do not want a billionaire mogul in Vegas that could have mob connections. That didn't get said, but that's what they meant. And they don't want a guy with mob connections that's going to make us look like we're throwing games or something. So get rid of him. So Mark Davis was forced to do that because, Mark Davis won't do anything for the NFL unless he's forced. I don't know if you remember, there was a 50th anniversary the NFL was doing, and they told every NFL team to paint their 50-yard line gold. And Mark Davis said no. And when the game came, it wasn't gold. And so he will defy them where he can, if he can. He wanted to say no to firing John Gruden, but there was too much pressure on him with the emails and the fans being pissed about it. He let him go. Now, fast forward, does Mark Davis have the money to sustain this all the way through? I don't think he does. And so we're already seeing the place overrun by other teams because Raider fans don't want to look at this. They'll be a fan from home until you get your act together. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just don't. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I know Raider fans that won't buy merch. They won't buy anything with the Raider logo or that says Raiders on it until they feel the Raiders have got their act together. That might even mean, I know at least one fan said this to me, that they're not going to be back until Mark Davis sells. Because they feel like Mark Davis is responsible for all this mess. And so they don't want to be a part of the Raiders until Mark Davis is no longer the owner of the team. Casey Stannard, what are you doing? You do not throw your husband under the bus. What are you doing? Whatever he did, it can't be that bad. Not that bad. Let's see. Frisman Jackson, Seattle Seahawks receiving coach, maybe as OC. See, again, I like that. He's bringing in people like-minded that he knows won't, clash with him. They're going to understand his system intimately, immediately, and that means your classroom is better. Now, oftentimes we talk about, like my guy Joe Holman, he's always saying, Bear, we got to give him more defensive end help for Max Crosby. We got to get him help. And he's right, and I agree with that. But we always talk about things like that. Who's going to play safety? Who's going to be on our offensive line? We don't talk often enough about the classroom because I'm telling you guys, it is absolutely massive when you get a coach who's good in the classroom, i.e., you can see it in your mind if you've ever seen, a show about a football team. There's a huge white room and there's desks and it's basically a classroom. And there's little desks with tables and the guys sit there with their laptops and their cell phones and the coach is up on a whiteboard, drawing out plays and saying, we're going to be running this next week. Be ready. And it's called Y37 Scat Spider on 3. You know what I mean? And they've got to know. Now, oftentimes they're falling asleep in these meetings, or they're playing a game on their phone with the volume off so the coach doesn't catch them. But see, a good teacher in the room can overcome all those things. Get the players' attention, get them focused so that everything goes on the field as it should. And I think when you bring in like-minded coaching to your system, you have that. But imagine what they had last year with Pete Carroll trying to implement his offense on Chip Kelly, even though Chip Kelly was brought in by Tom Brady and Mark Davis to run the offense that he wasn't allowed to run all year. Now go into the locker room and the classroom and go teach that. You know, the players know they're not running Chip Kelly's offense. The offense isn't working. And now they're wondering why they aren't running Chip Kelly's offense. So Pete Carroll was kind of in the doghouse early on in the year. We knew about it, but we didn't know why. But you remember, we were talking about the fact that Pete Carroll was not being Pete Carroll. He was going for it on 4th down on our own side of the field, you know, and all these weird calls. And it was like he was rebelling against Chip Kelly and Mark Davis and Tom Brady. And so because you had that chaos, you couldn't have continuity on the field. Oh, wow. Dave Casper and it's autographed. That's dope. One of the best tight ends of all time. Will Nanoff, this is strictly coffee. I'm not above a little bit of rum, you know, with it, but that's around the holidays. Derek needs to be a coach somewhere on the team, but not as a player. Too many problems for as a rookie, unless for Fernando Mendoza, unless we trade back, then sign him if Kubi wants him. Well, Raider 8832, welcome to the show. Great profile picture. I would say to you this: we may trade back, but it's going to be after the 1st and 2nd round. Probably in the 3rd round, we'll trade back. I think we're absolutely going to be aggressive in the 1st and 2nd round. There may be a trade up in both rounds. And remember, that's a ballsy thing to say about our Raiders. We like never do that. In this instance, I think Clint Kubiak, Spytek, and Tom Brady feel like they're in charge of the team. Mark Davis is the dad who's left for a week on vacation and left to his house to do whatever with. And they're going to do that. They're going to do that. Mark Davis doesn't want the job. He wants to sit in a booth with blondes that are half his age, sometimes more than that, and pretend they're his girlfriends while he watches a game and eats nachos with his turtleneck. But even if we do drop down, it'll probably be in the 3rd and 4th rounds. And that will be to stockpile picks for the 3rd, 4th, 5th. There's always good talent in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds. Now, when you get to the 6th and 7th, it's kind of a crapshoot. You know what I mean? You may have spotted someone from a small school that can really play offensive line really well. He's 6'6", 320, but he's from a dinky little school. So a lot of people don't have tape on him. A lot of their coaching staff hasn't seen him. But if ours has, maybe that's who he goes after in that 7th round pick, 6th round pick. So I'm very excited to find out from my source that we're going to be aggressive in the first 2 rounds, maybe trading back into both. But then when we get to the 3rd, we may move assets to then stockpile picks and then come back 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th with just all sorts of picks, because they really want to change this team. I think we'll wait and see, because we have to. But when the draft comes, you'll see what I mean. And I always do a draft show party. I will put my reputation. I'll be right there on my show covering what they're doing. So you'll see. Will Nanoff will always be the most popular team in LA. We won a Super Bowl for LA. The only one they have. Oh, wait, no. Did the Rams get one? I can't remember if the Rams got one. When our Raiders aren't in it and the playoffs started like this, for example, I didn't see any of the Super Bowl. Not one snap. I didn't see any of the Super Bowl halftime show. Don't care. You know what I mean? The whole controversy about Bad Bunny. First off, I like Bad Bunny. I think he's good. And I don't care if I know what he's saying. I have a lot of Hispanic tracks in my, my Spotify and so on, my library on my phone. And I don't know what they're saying. And Linda sometimes laughs at me, but then she hears the song and the beat and, and gets into it. You know what I mean? And so I don't know why I'm itching so much today. My mustache is growing to a point where it can tickle me. If they persuaded Crosby to stay, then damn sure better get him some help. That's why I think they're going to double down on the first and the second rounds, Joe. I think that they're going to look for a monster in the first and the second round to put next to to put next to Max Crosby and see what we can get. I like the idea of Derek Carr as a quarterback coach, but before that, I would like to see him sign a one-day contract with us so he can retire as a Raider. Well, he'll do that, but he'll do that when he's older. He's not going to do it right now. We will see who we sign as defensive coordinator, coach, and Raiders gear. Oh, nice. Yeah, I just got some new Raider stuff myself. I haven't debuted it yet. There was a girl on Facebook that was selling a Charlie Brown We're Fans Forever sweater, and Charlie Brown and Snoopy are both wearing Raider gear. It's dope, and I ordered that. It's in my room, and I'll wear that on the show. Maybe I'll wear it tomorrow. Tanamoku, I heard that Friedman Jackson knows Kubiak's system really well. Yeah, and Frisman Jackson won't come in and try to outshine Kubiak and try to take his job, you know what I mean? Or even hint that he wants to be the head coach. He'll just come in and work. Just like when AP brought in two veteran coaches, you never once heard them for a split second say, oh, well, I could do the job. Even when everyone knew AP was going to get fired, they didn't step out into the light and say, you should hire me. You know what I mean? Will Laki Tassi get a chance to play this season? Bob, I can tell you that I do know that he will get an opportunity. Pete Carroll kind of showcased him, and I think the upstairs got to see that too, that the guy is just super raw because he's only ever played rugby, but he's also super young. I think he's only 21, 20. You know what I mean? And so having a guy who might be the biggest guy on the team. I mean, they said like 6'6", 360, something like that, some crazy numbers. I mean, he is a monster. And so with that being said, you got to get that guy at least an opportunity. Michael Guerrero says, Bear in 2028. Oh, look at that. And you guys, you got to look at Michael Guerrero's profile picture. How did he make daughters that pretty? They've got to look exactly like her and literally nothing like Naked Raider. Put foots in him. I had to give him one late because he showed up too late. Michael Guerrero, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. I always appreciate when you check in. Oh, Jack Bumpus got it right. Raiders! You even got a whoop whoop from Mama Bear. Sup right back to you, Jack. Or Jay, excuse me. Michael Charlander, I became a grandfather a few months ago, and you bet your arse his first words will be Raiders! I love that. I love the energy right up to the end of the show. Let's go. Jason Marshall, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Salute right back to you, brother. Welcome aboard. Jake Bumpus. I always loved his last name. Always bumping something. You got to keep that as a nickname, bro. You can say I gave it to you. Jake Mr. Bumpin' Something Bumpus. You have to look it up. It was on, I stole that. It was on that show that used to do the cheating scandals. Maury Povich. You got to look up Maury on YouTube, and then all you have to do is say, right, bumping something. And I'm telling you, it'll come up. I think there's even a meme for it. Tassi had a 1-year deal. He needs an extension. Well, Jason Marshall, I honestly think that he's going to earn that position. I really do. If they don't give him just another 1-year deal, I could see them working with him and potentially putting him on the practice squad and just looking at him, giving him whatever they pay for the practice squad. They'll put him there because you can't teach his size. That's the one thing I can teach you. I've been a strength and conditioning coach, a personal trainer, health and fitness, nutritionist. I've done it all. And I can tell you from experience, if you give me someone 6'6", 360, and it's football, I don't want to lose that guy to another team. I just don't. So I'm going to do whatever it takes. And if that means put him on the practice squad, I'm going to do it. If it means give him a 1-year deal because his agent's being pushy, I'm going to do it, because you can't teach that kind of size. Stephen Shaw and Mrs. Shaw. I missed it on the last one. I'm sorry, Stephen. Tell Mrs. Shaw I owe her one. Tell Mama Bear I said hi to the redheaded lady of rage. I will, sir. Mama Bear. Bob Standard said hello. That's my guy right there. Jake, and don't change that profile picture. It's perfect. You guys look great. You guys look great. I love the mean mug. It's because Tossie played rugby that I think they should give him a shot on defense, playing the middle. It's the easiest position to learn. The ball is hyped. Find the guy with the ball and kill him. Well, I don't know. I just don't know if I want to say it's the easiest position. As a snapper, you have to help call out protections. So you're basically saying just snapping the ball and block. That's true. But calling out protections, that they might end up with like his left guard or his right guard calling out the protections, like we were doing with Alex Karras when JPJ, Jackson Powers Johnson, was trying to play center for us. And then we found out he couldn't call out protections fast enough. It's not that, and I want to clear that up. Jackson Powers Johnson can read a defense and call out protections. His problem was he did it slowly, and then other times he would call out protections and he was wrong. And so they started having Alex Kappa help him call out the protections, because Alex Kappa came over from the Buccaneers to us and was a part of that championship team that with Tom Brady, and they knew he could come over and be a mentor, a teacher, so to speak. So. I like that, Jake. The little mini me. I like that. Oh my God. Tanamoku looked it up. Okay, Laki Tossie is 6'6", 373 pounds. So I was a box of Cheez-Its off of his weight. Because, God damn, I forgot he was that big. So I got it right, his height, but I said 6'6", but 370, I was thinking 350, 360, but God, dog, 370. That's a big dude, man. And you can't, and he's young, like young, you know what I mean? He's going to take whatever you pay him to keep him around. It's not like his agent can be a bully. I mean, he's coming over with no experience. He's only ever been a rugby player, you know what I mean? Wet behind the ears, not knowing a damn thing. Put butts in him. But I love Laki Tossie. I love him. I especially like the fact that he rubbed off on Pete Carroll the way he did. I don't think that that's a small thing. Pete Carroll is a real man's coach. You know what I'm saying? He wants to play hard football. Don't forget that team that he won a Super Bowl with and should have won too. That team was hard. It's why we like them so much. They stuck guys. He had bullies in the secondary, linebackers that were vicious, and Bobby Wagner and so on. You know, Pete Carroll knows dudes, and he looked at Laki Tossie and said, hey, man, I can do something with this guy, okay? He doesn't even fit through a door. He's got to turn sideways and duck. You don't call out protections when you're playing. Oh, you meant on defense. That's my bad. I misunderstood. And that's what I'm talking about. Put him in the middle on the 3-4. Well, see, now, if you put him in the middle in that way, even if they're in a 4 down lineman, I wouldn't mind him even that way. Because obviously you're not going to move the guy. I mean, who's really going to, on the offensive line, really move that guy? Even if they call run plays, you know what I'm saying, and the offensive line jumps out at Tossie. I mean, like, they're really going to push Laki Tossie around. I don't see that. He probably is going to be pretty darn good. My personal opinion is he's going to be pretty darn good because, I hate to keep saying, oh, it's his size, but it's his size. Oh, jeez. I'm like dropping stuff all over the place, but it's his size. He's he's so freaking massive that I don't see how you let that guy out of the building unless he's like terrible. I'm not letting that guy out of the building. No way. Just too huge. All right, guys, that is my show. I appreciate you tuning in. I will be back tomorrow, same time, same bat channel. Don't miss me, because now we got to talk about these coach hires. I'm going to go into deep background on our coaches, get you their experience and so on, see how that's going to help our nation and our Raiders grow together and do some good. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force, for all you do. The energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice, active and veteran. Much love. I'm Raiders! I mean, come on. Who has a better Raider shout than I do? I mean, I'm not trying to be conceited. It just comes to me naturally. I'm Raiders! Much love. I'll see you tomorrow. Raider Bear, Mama Bear, Lil Cub.